Hi friends, welcome to my channel Learning English Language and Literature. Well, this video is about UGC or NTA NET examination coaching, especially for English literature candidates. In my last video, I shared some information on the topic Cultural Studies, that is Unit 7. In today's video, we are going to see both the Units 7 and 9 altogether, that is Cultural Studies and Literary Theory combinedly. The reason is because in my last video itself I have mentioned that cultural studies also include literary theories. In our syllabus, literary theory is given as a separate unit. So in this video we are just going to see both units combinedly. So before we start, kindly subscribe to my channel to get notification on my future videos. So here we go. First we are going to start with structuralism or structuralist theory. Saussurean linguistics. Actually, who is Saussure? Saussure, his full name is Ferdinand de Saussure. He was a Swiss philosopher, linguist, as well as a semiotician. His Saussurean linguistics, is considered to be the founding model of this whole theory called structuralism. Okay, we can sum up this whole theory in just two words: synchronic and binary contrast. Structuralism focuses on the text only based on synchronic nature, that is, it only focuses upon the given point of time, the present. Okay, like that, it works based on binary contrast. It derives its meaning by finding the opposite relational meaning within the text. For example, if there is a word good, we will search for these words like evil or bad, some related words like that. Okay, so if there is a word black, we will search for other colors like white. So structuralism works based on binary contrast. So we can simply say structuralism is a synchronic study by binary contrast of signifiers. Then here we have some of the important works in this area. The first one is by Roman Jakobson. His work is called Structural Poetics. Then Claude Lévi-Strauss, Cultural Anthropology, Sigmund Freud, Psychoanalytical Theory, Noam Chomsky, Linguistics, New Criticism and Practical Criticism. So these are considered to be some of the most important works in this area. If you want to know some extra information, you can search for these works by yourselves. So Russian formalism. What is the link between structuralism and Russian formalism is we can say that Russian formalism is the precursor. Russian formalism is the precursor of structuralism. Or we can put something like Russian formalism gave rise to structuralism. Only based on this formalism, structuralism arose. Okay, so that's the connection between these two theories, Russian formalism and structuralism. Then here we have some of the important things about structuralism. Structuralism and its theory. It began as an approach in linguistics and anthropology studies. So structuralism arose only as an approach. It didn't begin as a theory. Okay, that approach is also followed in some specific areas like linguistics and anthropology. Only later it has influenced other areas too, like human behaviors, like that. Okay, then it generalized. Structuralism is based on generalization. From particular, it moves to general things. That's its nature. Then Saussure, I already told you, he is the most important figure in this area. He has given some important terms. We will see about that. So here we are. The first one is langue or parole. What I mean by langue is something abstract. It contains lots of impersonal rules. So we can say langue as a deep structure of a language. On the other hand, parole is a concrete one. It can be put as a individual speaking language or surface structure. Langue is a deep structure, but parole is a surface structure of a language. So we can say in the basis of a whole to part concept, we can say langue as a whole and parole is a part. Parole is a part of the whole, that is langue. So that's the difference between langue and parole. Then synchronic and diachronic. I already told you structuralism is based on synchronic nature. That is, it only focuses upon the given point of time. On the other hand, what I mean by diachronic is it studies the language, its history and evolution. Then paradigmatic and syntagmatic. Here we can say it is something like our graph, okay, x-axis and y-axis in our graph. Syntagmatic may be considered as an x-axis and paradigmatic is a ladder-like structure, that is y-axis. We can put all our behavior patterns under this two. Then signifier and signifier. Here sign, any words is classified into these two, signifier and signified. What do you mean by signifier is the expression or the spoken word. And what do you mean by signified is it is the concept or an object. So the signifier and signified both are arbitrary in nature. That means it keeps on changing. It is not static at all. Then Saussure concept in simple terms about how language function. So we can see about this. According to these how language function, first one is it is arbitrary in nature. I already told you it is both signifier and signified are arbitrary in nature. That means it keeps on changing. So that is what by arbitrary, it is dynamic or not static. Okay. Then relational. Relational in the sense meaning of the words are relational. Okay, relational in the sense no meaning is isolated. Only adjoining of words gives meaning to us. I already told you structuralism is based on binary contrast. Only by relating one word with another we derive meaning from the text. Then attributed. In structuralism, meaning is attributed to the object. It is not already there. We are only attributing some meaning to the object or concept, whatever it is. So here we can say meaning is constructed. Meaning is only constructed here. It is not a prior concept. Meaning is not already there. We are only give meaning to something, some object or concept. So that's why we use this word attributed. So according to his concept, this is how language functions. Then we have another important person in this area, that is Claude Levi-Strauss. Why he is important is because he is the one who applied this structuralist theory to Oedipus myth. We can find the application of this theory into some work. So Oedipus, it is a famous myth. It is a Greek myth actually. Oedipus is the person who kills his own father. Okay, so how he applied? It is based on lang or parole. I already told you lang is a whole and parole means it is just a part. Okay, so particular to general, we can find this concept here, or we can say individual to whole. How he applied in the sense here, Oedipus is a particular person, but myth is a general concept. By applying this structuralism, he just moved from this particular person Oedipus to general myth. Okay, so that's how he interpreted this myth, Oedipus myth. If you want to know some extra information, you can search. Okay. Then we have Roland Barthes. He is another important personality in this area. At first, he was the structuralist. Then he just transited to post-structuralism. So he is the one who applies structuralism to modern culture. Okay, so his very important book is called S by Z. In that book, he has given 5 quotes. Here, these are the quotes. I will just tell you the crisp of the quote. You can search for yourselves. Okay, about this. The first one is pro-Arctic code. It means an indication of actions. It refers to an indication of actions. Hermeneutic code. It means it possesses questions or suspense. Then the cultural code. It means common knowledge by some description. Then semiotic, or we can say semi-code. It is something like a connotative code. Then finally, symbolic code. This symbolic code may be linked to the theme. Okay, so these are the 5 quotes in his book S by Z. It's a very important book. Then structuralism in a nutshell. So structuralism, it's originated in 1900. Even though it's originated in 1900, it became famous only in 1960s, that too in France. Then parallelism, echoes and reflection. So structuralism is based on parallelism. That means it looks for some reflections in the text. For example, we can say binary contrast here. It works on base of the relation of words. Okay, so parallelism is the most important thing in structuralism. We will only focus upon this reflections here. Then structuralism can be say as a response to existentialism. Actually, it's a philosophy. So structuralism is a kind of a response to this philosophy, existentialism. Then structuralism is a post-war intellectual movement. Then finally, we can also study human behavior by applying this structuralism. Okay, that means structuralists identified structures that underlie all culture phenomena, not only literature. Structuralism doesn't only fit itself to literature. We can analyze anything by using structuralism. Even we can analyze these human behaviors by this theory called structuralism. Okay. So, on the whole, we can say simply what is the belief of structuralism is here things cannot be understood in isolation but related to the larger structures. Things cannot be understood in isolation but all related to a larger structure. Okay, so that's the whole belief of this theory, structuralism. So that's all about structuralism. In my next video, I will upload something about post-structuralism and deconstruction. So thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe to my channel.